In this lesson, we're going to go over inline styling, and that is something that really you already kind of know. We're going to deal with HTML elements, and we're going to add a new attribute to them called the style attribute. So if you remember in the HTML course, we had, for instance, the anchor tag has an attribute of href, which is the web page we would go to, or if we wanted to give it a title, this title is an attribute, an HTML attribute, which defines that, which really just means you can hover over it and you see the title there. So there's another one, the style attribute, and that's where we can put CSS right inside the HTML element and inject it right in there, and that's what's called inline styling. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go up to the H1 tag. I'm going to add a new attribute called style, and that's what it looks like. So we can use that CSS syntax that we just learned and apply it to this HTML element. So in this case, I'm going to use a couple CSS properties that we haven't gone over yet, but just hang tight. I'm just trying to teach you the principle of inline styling first. So in this case, first we're going to try, let's change this color here to green. And there we go. There's green. And again, remember we separate each property out with a semicolon. And we're going to create another one here. We're going to give it some margin here, 10 pixels all around. And let's give it a border all the way around, 5 pixels solid, and to make it kind of gray. There we go. Need some padding. And there we go. So basically what I did was take CSS properties and inject them right into this H1 tag using the style attribute. And we can continue to do that. Let's say if we wanted to make this, style. We wanted to make this red. Now this is red. And let's mess with this anchor tag for a minute. Let's make it green just like the H tag. Let's take out the underline. Text decoration is none. And let's give it a background of gray. And again, I'm going to be teaching you what all these CSS properties do in detail later. I'm just showing you what inline styling is. And let's make this one style. Let's just make the font size just a little bigger here, 24 pixels. So now I made it a lot bigger, as you can see over here. So in a nutshell, that is inline styling. And it's very helpful, for instance, if you're working in a CMS like WordPress or Joomla or Drupal, and you're working in a content item or post or whatever, and you don't really have access to the CSS file itself, you can quickly add a style to an HTML element by just going to the code view, looking at the H1 tag, for instance, and then giving it a new attribute, and then put in whatever you need for just that specific HTML element. And in the next few lessons, we're going to look more into why this is really not the best idea all the time. And just to give you an example, for instance, okay, so this paragraph tag is red and this one's not. Well, what if I want this one to be red too? Okay, well then I have to go down here and say color is red. Not a big deal, but what if I have 10 paragraphs that are like that? Or what if I have 100 web pages and each one of those paragraph tags I want to be red? Well, I don't want to go to each one of those paragraph tags and enter in this every single time. So that's where in the next few lessons we're going to learn how to separate all the CSS styling out and put it in its own style sheet. And then after we do that, we're going to get into specifics on what exactly font size mean. What does this this border 5 pixels mean and stuff. So just hang tight and we'll get into all of that.